Hey guys, welcome to another edition of God Center brought to you by Rocky Biochem. Today's session is going to focus on some examples of questions that you should be prepared for in your PhD or your master's interview. I keep saying this that so far as you've been shortlisted for an interview, it shows that you are an ideal candidate for the program. That is why the admission committee has moved on to interview you. So I'm gonna share some questions that you should expect in your master's or your PhD interview, as well as how to approach such questions. So my first question is, tell us about yourself. Tell us about yourself. The interviewers may ask you that, tell us about yourself. You should always approach this question with caution. Tell us about yourself doesn't mean tell them about your name, where you come from, your number of siblings. No, it is not about that. Tell us about yourself. Normally focus on who you are, your qualifications, and then some basic achievement that you have, as well as something brief about your academic background. You don't have to dig so deep. Just talk something briefly about your academic background. So for instance, my name is Roxanne and I am from Ghana. I hold Bachelor of Science degree in Biochemistry from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. And let's say I also work as a research assistant at a blah 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 research center. You see the approach. So, or let's say at this particular company, just talk briefly about yourself, maybe your school, your qualification, and what you are currently doing. So just briefly talk about that. You don't have to dig so deep, like talking about your family. No. We don't expect you to say something like that. And if you have some top achievements, if you have some achievements as well, you can include all these achievements as part of the tell us about yourself question. And then aside the tell us about yourself, there is this question that you likely meet in your interview. A question like, why do you want to join us? Why do you want to join our program? Why do you want to join our program? So when they ask you why you want to join their program, the best approach for this question is that talk about your motivations, like talk about your research interests and your career goals. And after talking about your research interests and your career goals, then relate it to the research focus of the department, and specifically narrow it to one or two professors whose research are directly in line with what you are interested in, and let them know how the trainings, the skills, and overall the PhD training from the school will help you be prepared to embrace your career goals. So we talk about the career goals and then your future professional career, your career goals, what you want to do in the future, and relate all these interests to the research focus of the department, and then narrow it down to the research of one or two professors, and let them know how their training will help you be well prepared and then achieve your future career goals. So this is a basic way of preparing for such a question. And also be familiar with any skill or technique on your CV. Like let's say you've stated on your CV that you are familiar with PCR, you are familiar with flow cytometry, immunoprecipitation, or any skill relating to your field of study. Make sure that you are familiar with anything stated on your CV, because you might be asked to explain how that particular skill or like how that particular technique is done. Just be familiar with it. Please make sure that you are very familiar with anything on your CV in case you've been asked to talk about it. There is this question that you should also expect. Tell us about your academic background. So for your academic background, I don't expect you to go back and then talk about your junior high school, your senior high school. No. Just move forward to talk about your bachelor's degree or your master's degree, and then talk about some relevant courses that you took. Relevant courses in the sense that courses that are relating to the program that you want to do in your master's level or your PhD level. Let's say you are applying into a PhD program in maybe molecular biology, and you did Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry. I did Biochemistry. That is why I normally like using Biochemistry as my examples. So I did Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry. So in case I am applying for a program like PhD in cellular and then molecular biology, and then I have been asked to talk about my academic background. After talking about the program that I did, and then I am moving on to talk about the relevant courses that I took, I have to talk about courses like molecular biology, microbiology, metabolism, health and diseases, medical biochemistry, immunology, because these courses are directly aligned with the program that I'm planning to, or like the PhD program that I want to do. I don't have to talk about some minor or broad courses like communication skills, algebra. No, I took these courses, but they are not directly in line with the program that I am applying to. So there is no need for me to make mention of these programs as part of the relevant courses that I took. So just briefly talk about it, and then if you did some presentations, like you attend some conferences, and then let's say you attended some conferences and then you presented at those conferences, just chip in those conference presentations in there, like just chip in those conference presentations. And if you also attended some workshops and trainings, try to talk about these workshops as well. Let's say you attended a workshop, like maybe a workshop that focused on techniques like flow cytometry, and let's say you attended an immunological techniques based workshop. Make sure that you you talk about the workshop in detail, talk about it, the trainings that you will receive from them, and then how that has prepared you for your graduate studies. So feel free to talk about anything that directly impacted your academic journey. And now when they ask you to talk about your research experiences, don't just talk about what you are currently doing alone. Go back, start from the internship that you did. So any research-based internship that you did, talk about it. Talk about the title of the project that you participated in. Talk about the skills and then the techniques that you gained and how that has shaped your research focus. Talk about those internships and then any research that you've done, and talk about your undergraduate research. I want you to take your time and then talk briefly. Use your undergraduate research to convince them that you are capable of conducting research independently. Talk about your title, your aims, your methodology. Stress more on your methodologies. Highlight on the techniques that you use in your research, how you analyze your results, your findings, and then maybe some key findings, like how you develop new research focus based on the key findings that you got from your research that you did. So just use that time to talk more about anything. I normally want you to make it be in a sequential manner, from your internships to your undergraduate research, and then to the research that you are currently doing. Let's say you work in a research center, or maybe you work as a teaching and a research assistant. Just talk about something that you are currently doing, and then let us know your role and how, or like the research that you are currently doing. Let us know whatever you are currently doing. Move from your internship all the way to what you are currently doing. And then aside these questions, they might ask you a question about your career goals. You know it, you know what you want to do. So talk about your career goals as well as your motivation. So they might ask you that, what is your motivation to pursue a PhD? Or like, why do you want to do a PhD but not master's? Just know, like, find a way to answer this question. So when they ask you that, why do you want to do a PhD but not master's? Well, you can let them know that PhD is much more of research based than master's. I don't mean that we don't do research in master's. No, we do research in both master's and PhD. But you can let them know that maybe PhD is much more research oriented, and then your future career goals expect you to obtain a PhD before you can take up the role that you want to take in future. Let's say you want to be an academic professor in future. You have to get PhD before you can take up that role. So you can just maybe use something like that to convince them. Yeah. So these are some questions that I would like to share with you for now. There are a lot more questions available online. You can read about them and then just be prepared enough. I always say that you should be confident in yourself. You should feel that I am very prepared for this interview. You shouldn't panic. When you meet them, don't be panicked. Like, don't be panicking when you meet them. Just relax and then be very confident in yourself and then answer every question. I always like saying this: talk as much as you can. Talk as much as you can, because the more you talk, it shows them that you are very confident in yourself. You are very confident in expressing yourself. So talk, express yourself, sell yourself to them. You know, I feel like this: nobody knows you. Like the department, they don't know you. You have your skills, you have your expertise. You alone knows what is within you. You alone knows your capabilities. But if you don't sell yourself to them, they are not going to know that. They can't see through you. They are not they don't have magical powers to look through you and then say or like see what is within you. No, you have to sell yourself. So be very confident. Talk as much as you can to convince them, because so far as you've been selected for interview, it should give you an idea that you are an ideal candidate for their program. Thank you very much for this session. I hope this session will help you. Try as much as possible to read more online, read other questions, like read about other questions. Some people have videos online as well. Aside this video, there are a lot more videos on YouTube here that you can also watch and then select the questions there. Just be prepared for any question. That is the only thing that I would like to say. See you another time.